Hello everybody, my name is Moshe Zadka. My website is corporatism.com, where you can find every way to contact me, known to humankind. And today I'm going to be talking to you about DevPI, the tool you never knew you needed. I want to start with Acknowledgement of Country. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, the ancestral home of the Mweka Ohlone, and much of the story I will tell you about happens in Camp Tawonga, the ancestral home of the Central Sierra Miwok. So one day we decided to go to summer camp. This was what they call family camp, for families with kids who are too young to go to summer camp by themselves. It's fun time. You go to summer camp, you hang out with your kids, but even more fun is that for about half of the day, the counselors take your kids and do fun things with them, and you have all the time to yourself. And like every reasonable person who goes to summer camp, I decided that this is a great time to work on some open source stuff. Camp Tawonga is very beautiful, has a lot of fun activities. What it does not have is good networking. So I had to work without internet connectivity, which is something I'm never used to. I always have internet pretty much wherever I go. I want to work on Python. Python is pretty much nothing without a great ecosystem on PyPI. Without the internet, I don't have PyPI. I need to cache a lot of PyPI locally. Now, your first thought may be, just build a bunch of great virtual environments and work inside them, just install the packages. And that doesn't really work because of all kinds of things. A lot of things assume that virtual environments are disposable. And you want to do that. You want to make sure that if you install the wrong thing, you don't have to worry about how to uninstall it. You can just throw away the virtual environment and create it again. Yes, PIP now has a cache, but that cache also kind of is assumed to be a best effort. It's not really, designed to be relied on to completely work without connectivity. So, like I said, I need a local package cache. As you can probably guess from the title of the talk, I use DevPI. All my friends told me, you should already be using DevPI, and I kept resisting, but it has gone to the point of no return. Summer camp was upon us. I had only a few days to get ready. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I created a new virtual environment dedicated for the DevPI. I installed it, and I started it. That's a pretty painless thing. And basically at that point, the server just starts. I started a dedicated virtual terminal so I can see it kind of go and check out the logs. And now I want to make sure that it works. So I create a new virtual environment, because that's what you do in Python. You just create a new virtual environment. I installed a couple of packages, made sure that they work correctly. Everything looked fine, but at this point I'm still on the internet. So when I pip install through the API, it will reach out to the internet on my behalf and grab the packages, but also very carefully cache everything it sees. Now, at this point, I want to make sure that this is my default. So I do this, I export it, so I can just do it whenever I pip install. And, at some point I decide, yes, DevPI clearly works well enough, at least while I'm connected to the internet, to work day to day. So I configure my pip.conf to have this as a default. This is basically commitment as far as I'm concerned, because there's no chance I really remember to remove this file if I ever think about it. So at this point, I'm pretty much wedded to the idea of using DevPI as my permanent proxy to PyPI. And this way, all my packages are gonna go through it and go back. Great so far. Now I need to warm up the cache. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I cloned the Twisted open source project, and I ran talks. Now Twisted has a bunch of environments in talks with a lot of packages, with few packages, latest packages, all the supported packages. Everything is running through my dev PI and really kind of giving it a run for the money. And because this was one of the projects I knew I was going to work for on, this was like a really good idea. And in general, just running the CI in whatever set of projects you want to work on will usually give your dev PI kind of a good cache to kind of warm it up and make sure that things are in it. So if you do know that you're gonna lose internet connectivity at a given time and you want to warm up your cache as hard as possible, just clone a bunch of open source projects, run Tox or Nox or whatever test runner you use, and pretty soon your cache will be pretty warm. So that's good. Now I'm ready to go to summer camp. I can develop. But when I go to summer camp, I might want to work on my own little projects. That's great. So what I can do is I can even set a private area in my dev PI server to test uploads of my own small open source project that I can just release without asking anyone. So I can behave as though I release them to make sure that, for example, when I upload them to the real PI, they're actually useful, because often when you install them locally, you forget the readme in the manifest.in and everything breaks in weird ways. This way, you can push it out to your local dev PI and test it out, right? So just like I can use it to cache, I can also use it to do local development and have a complete, basically, test area for my local PI, for my local packages. This is great, but eventually, as all vacations, summer camp must end, and you end up going back to work. I happen to work in a place where there's lots of Python. Probably many of you do as well. And you work with other people. And some of the packages are either proprietary for silly reasons, or proprietary for good reasons, or just are not ready for the open source stuff, or like just are uninteresting, right? If it's a package to deal with your local microservice, nobody else could use it. So I upload it to dev PI. So obviously you'll be running dev PI on your laptop, so you want to daisy chain your local dev PI to your team's dev PI, for which you can all upload the local packages, but also get whatever packages you can from the global PI. So dev PI is a really useful tool. Whether you're out in the woods with no network, you want to make sure that your test uploads work well, or you're working with a great team of people and you want to collaborate on packages, dev PI is a tool that will make every single one of your Python workflows better. That has been my talk about dev PI. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.